Do you need to do some cleaning? It's too late, we're at the end of the video. I should have put this at the beginning. But if you need to do some cleaning, now's your time. Come body double with me. Woo! Good morning. Yesterday, I was filming a bunch of B-roll for a video, and that involved, like, ripping a bunch of stuff out of cabinets here and then putting it all back. But while I was doing that, I became aware of some areas where my organization is not up to what I would like it to be. So I took a bunch of stuff out of cabinets. Ow, this is getting hot. I took a bunch of stuff out of cabinets, literally left a cabinet door open. There's like a ton of stuff in this chair over here. And then I got really sleepy and didn't do anything about that. Y'all, I have been getting so sleepy lately. It's really annoying. Like, I'm getting perfectly fine amounts of sleep at night. I'm sleeping really well at night. I am an early riser, so I'm up at like 6 a.m. And then I'll, be blazing through a bunch of work, raring to go, getting it all done. And then by like 10 a.m., this wave of sleepiness comes over me, and all I want to do is take a nap. And I'm just not recovering from that very well. This has literally been going on for just like 3 days now, and I'm very confused about it. Anyway, I'm already rambling, which is the reason that this video is on the second channel. 'Cause one, I am going to continue to ramble all the way through the whole thing, and two, I'm literally just filming this to convince myself to clean all of this up. I'm very motivated by making a video, which I'd say that's a very healthy relationship with my job. It's totally fine, totally fine. Ugh. But here's the deal. It's basically a fiber problem. I have, over the last several years, actually over the last like decade, because fiber includes all of my embroidery stuff, I've collected a lot of different types of fiber, and I'm having trouble storing them. Not that I don't have enough space. I have plenty of space. That's not the problem here. It's just like the fabric is in a closet. It's all in the same closet. It's separated into categories within that closet, and it's contained in one place. I like things to all be in the same place if they're the same thing. But fiber is like a much different category than fabric, because there's so many different things within that category. So over the last several years that I've been in this room, I've been storing various types of fiber in various different places. And it started to just get kind of spread out and confusing. And also I have started having way more fiber than I once did. It used to just be like embroidery floss, and now it's a lot of stuff. So like right now, oh God, I've got yarn in this drawer and in this drawer. There's also some yarn scraps in here though, and like this I would technically call cord, but it fit in here, so I put it in here. Ow. This yarn, on the other hand, did not fit in there, so it's over here in a basket, which, like, okay, that's cute, that's aesthetic, but still, we're already getting one type of fiber spread out in multiple places. And then over here, we've got, like, macrame cutoffs in this drawer, all separated into little separate bags, but then I just threw a bunch of raffia in here because I bought raffia. Or is it raffia? That sounds too much like mafia, so I'm going to continue calling it raffia. So I got that recently for a project, just threw it in here. Ow. And then this drawer next to it has other macrame cord, only then I threw t-shirt yarn in here because it didn't fit in the other places. These also didn't fit in those drawers because they're just too bulky, so I had them thrown in that cabinet over there. So like everything's just getting too spread out. Oh, and then I also just did a little bit of a shopping trip on a certain website because I have stuff that like I wanted to explore some things, and so I was getting specific types of like linen cord and hemp cord, so now I've got a random little collection there. That never even found a home. This cabinet is just kind of a problem in general. I love this cabinet. It's got lots of great stuff about it, but this section is like the biggest section in it, and it doesn't have any shelves or anything. It's just one big open space. So it ends up feeling like a lot of wasted space, and also I end up throwing a lot of stuff in here. Namely, over on this side where you can't see it, is a bunch of different embroidery flosses in separate containers, little like tubs over here, which is great, but like they're hard to get to because I don't typically need to get to them. So that's fine, but it could be better. And that's also where I ended up throwing a lot of like new embroidery flosses that I got, which I pulled out yesterday and stuck on this chair. This is full of like silk ribbon. I got it at an estate sale. It was already in this container, so I left it in this container, but that's like specifically silk ribbon for silk ribbon embroidery. Do you see how we're getting so spread out and confusing? And we're not even done, because in here, that is all full of like my regular embroidery floss. And we even have some like that's like laundry line, I guess, but like that's a form of cord. And it's just sitting there randomly. When I was making all of these various baskets, I think I ended up using all of it up. But I was looking for like this rope stuff that I had bought for a previous project, and I searched for so long. I couldn't find it anywhere because I hadn't known where to put it when I got it because it's so random and specific, and I had stuck it in some random box. So this is what we're running into, is when I need a specific type of cord or fiber or something, I'm having trouble finding it because it's all so spread out. And yesterday I decided this is a problem that I need to solve, and today I have to deal with the fact that I decided that yesterday. And that's why we're here, folks. So I think a good first step, before I start rambling about random things, would be to literally just pull out every type of fiber I own from all of its different locations and put it in a big pile in the middle of the floor, and then kind of start over. This is my organization method, is usually like start from scratch, pull everything out, see what you have, assess the situation, start from scratch. Let's pause for a quick snack break, because being hungry is not going to help the cleaning get done. And the sponsor of today's video is Snackish. Can all of my sponsors just be delicious food? That'd be great. Who doesn't love a potato chip break? Ooh. Snackish potato chips are made with 100% avocado oil, so they don't leave me feeling all greasy and heavy, even if I eat the whole dang bag at once, which I have done. No regrets. They are, of course, plant-based and dairy-free, as well as being a good source of protein and of fiber. And y'all, I must admit, when I hear stuff like that in the marketing of a snack food, I tend to automatically be like, so they don't taste very good, right? No, they taste great. They've got all that flavor and crunch you expect from a potato chip. All the deliciousness that makes you go right back in for another one. They've also got all your favorite flavors like jalapeno kick, vinegar rush, barbecue bash, and more. If you are feeling a little snackish, you can grab a bag of Snackish potato chips at eatsnackish.com, which I have linked in the description, or you can find them at Target or Amazon. Thank you to Snackish for sponsoring this studio reorganization. And yeah, we should get back to that. Oh yeah, and then technically I have this kind of fiber too. Oh, see, I totally forgot about this, which is another thing I found yesterday and was like, stuff in too many places. In this thing, there's a bunch of cord, like crochet thread. Why did I ever get this? Oh, I think this was when I was doing bead animals. It's like that plastic clear stuff. Yeah, so we've got cord randomly in here. This little section has become quite a dump all zone. Especially because it has a door that closes over it, so when I find something or I acquire something that I'm like, this is very random and I do not know where to store it, I'm like, plop it in here, close the door. But it has largely become like a painting, sort of a painting zone, and I'd like to kind of keep it that way. These don't even need to be in here. Why are they in here? You know what? I'm already gonna take this back, because the beads for bead pets are in here, and this is specifically for that. So I think storing this with the beads makes the most sense. One down. Oh, look, a container of embroidery floss. Oh my God, y'all, this is from years ago. So I used to be doing an exploration where I was doing like all of these different stitches with, no, that wasn't it. I would do one type of stitch with a bunch of different embroidery flosses. I had a name for it. And I did like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 of them. And then I was like, these are not going to get views and I don't like making them. So let's stop. But I left all the floss for it and some fabric in one little specific container. Perfect. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. That's fine. We were pulling everything out. Now we're seeing what else we got. This shelf is entirely ribbon and bias tape, which looks a mess, but I'm kind of fine with it looking a mess. It's okay. At least it's all the same thing. It's okay to be a mess as long as you're a mess within a category. A categorized mess. This starts to get confusing. We've got a bunch of tulle that I bought for a specific project because it was on sale. Then never did that project. I have no idea what this is. Random fabric scraps. Why are you here? We have boning, zip ties, pipe cleaner, wire. Oh God, what's in here? Should we get distracted? No, we shouldn't, but I'm gonna. That's technically a cord. Crap. The problem comes when you're like, I have everything of this specific category in this specific place. And then you get a storage thing that doesn't fit in that specific place. Oh, hey, look! I was wondering where I put the rest of the needle felt kit after I made it. Stashed it in there, apparently. And see, that's the thing. I was looking for that the other day. And I couldn't find it. This is why every crafter dreams of apothecary cabinets. There's just so many different things that you end up acquiring and using when you craft. And trying to keep them all separated and organized, it's a feat. What if? That was very necessary. Oh God, there's cord in there. So I think the needles need a new storage spot. We're snowballing, y'all. Snowballing. Glue also. I was pulling out glue and then I was like, I have acquired so much glue recently and that used to not be a problem because I don't really like using glue. So I didn't have much. The tulle, I really don't want it here. Tulle is fabric. Ugh. I just talked about how all the fabric is in the same place. Kind of. There is fabric in there. Let's not look in there right now. That also needs to be reorganized. But I have reasons. Wire into boning into bra cups. This makes sense, right? This makes sense. What even are you? Squish, 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 squish. Oh my God. Yeah, let's continue to ignore that. Okay, this next shelf is, well, that's random. This doesn't need to be in here either. But other than that, it is entirely like Aida needlepoint canvas, latch hook canvas. It's all that specific type of backing material, and I'm okay with that. And then the next drawer down is interfacing, which I don't even want to touch. It's fine, it all fits in there, it can stay. The focus here was definitely fibers, but now I'm just kind of getting into everything, aren't I? Here's a thought. No, I don't like that thought. So I won't tell you what it is. Oh, that's trash. See, everything is snowballing now. My little pattern section over there is a mess. And now I'm like, should I clean that too? Is this video just gonna become me cleaning my entire studio? Not even cleaning. It was clean yesterday, to be clear. It was very clean. It was perfectly fine. I am creating the mess that now needs to be cleaned up because I'm so specifically, I don't know. I so specifically need things to look better than they currently do. I mean, the problem is that recently, and I say problem like very in a champagne problem sort of way. The thing we are trying to solve is that recently, as I have moved out of my 3-year sewing obsession and started to explore new craft forms, that means I'm acquiring a lot of new stuff, not necessarily in like a shopping spree, buy a ton of stuff way, but just I'm acquiring stuff that doesn't fit into the organization I already had, because so much of my prior organization was specifically embroidery and sewing. Even like my macrame stuff, which was a little period in between embroidery and sewing, it kind of gets like thrown in a little corner because it already feels random compared to the thing I was mainly focused on. Like, I've been embroidering for over 8 years now, and then I've been sewing for over 3, I think. And both of those things have been like very main focuses. So while I never specifically was like, this is a sewing studio, I always knew that I would be exploring lots of different art and craft forms, that's the most stuff that I had, and that's where like the main organization automatically fell. And so now when I'm getting stuff like a tool for mosaic, I have no idea whenever this video comes out if I've done that yet, but if not, sneak peek, mosaic is coming up. It's a small little thing, but now where does it go? Where does it go? I don't know. I'm extremely privileged to have plenty of space. I am not at all complaining. We are just solving a little organization challenge today, apparently. Wasn't really the plan, but now it is. I think the mosaic tool should go up with like the painting stuff. Yeah? This makes sense to me. Ah, it's okay, everything is fine. Hi, baby. We solved a problem. Let's celebrate. With puppy cuddles. Matt's out of town, so he's extra needy and whiny. Poor baby. All right, we massively went off track, but I feel like I should return to removing every fiber, putting it in the center of the floor. Let's do it. For real this time. Oh God, some of this just needs to be wound. I don't love yarn, y'all. No offense to the yarn people. Yarn is amazing. I just don't love it. Oh, I have gloves in here. That's random. Ooh, jute. Okay, I think that's everything other than scraps, which I'm fine with. My scraps are pretty organized in various little containers. Here's the reason that all of this happened. Like the thing that got me started on this yesterday. Inside this bag, there's like, I don't even remember, over 100, I'm pretty sure, different types of embroidery floss, different brands, different fibers, etc. I got all of these, not at the Royal School of Needlework, even though it says that. I got them at a needlework shop in Philadelphia because I went in this store, Rittenhouse Needlepoint, I want to say it is. Why am I laying down? See, it's happening. I'm getting sleepy. No laying down. I went into this store and was overwhelmed by how many types of embroidery or needlework floss there are, when I already thought I had a bunch because I was using like 6-strand and pearl and tapestry wool. And then I was like, oh my God, there's so many more. And I was intrigued by this, and I love a study. So I bought one of each type. And I want to make a giant stitched swatch. This is literally just a massive project, like a time and a money investment for no reason other than like crafty science. I'm so hunchy right now because I can't tell if I'm in frame or not. Let me fix it so I can have better posture. Perfect. I think I can start that project, or I want to start that project soon, because I did finish my Fantasia embroidery piece. So right now I really just have the Beauty and the Beast embroidery piece and then my travel piece. And my rule for myself is that I'm allowed to have 3 pieces. One that's a travel piece, and I'm allowed to have 2 that I'm working on at home. Which means I think I can start this, which is why yesterday I started pulling it out, because since I acquired all of these, I have also acquired a few other types of embroidery floss that I wanted to include in that. So I was like, perfect, you should pull all these out and organize them a little and get ready for that project. And then it turned into this. Yay. Kind of looks like I should take a thumbnail photo right now, doesn't it? Okay, I took the opportunity of turning off the camera to separate things out a little bit and organize them into categories. Yarn. I feel like this is so clearly the yarn collection of a dabbler. There's like almost no yarn that I have 2 skeins of. It's all so random. I'm sure most of it is acrylic. I have no idea. I'm a yarn dabbler. These are all my pre-organized embroidery flosses. 6-strand, pearl, tapestry, which is 4-ply, and then 2-ply wool. I don't know that all of this is specifically what everyone would call macrame cord, but it's all what I would call cord rather than yarn. So I feel like it's safe to put it all together. This is roving fiber and the stuff that goes with it, like the drop spindle that the lovely Jillian Eve gave me, needle felting, etc. Here we have crochet cord specifically. I'm pretty sure I have this from back when I used to do Armenian needle lace more often. Why I have so much of it? I mean, I know that's not a lot, but like, that's still way more than I need. Why do I have so much of it? I don't know. Raffia And I also got some like paper cord, which I feel like can go with raffia because that's basically what it is, right? This is all the like linen and cotton and hemp cord that basically I got for like bookbinding. These are all so random and specific, I don't know what category to put them in. I'm gonna have to think about that. And then finally, we've got like the specialty embroidery flosses. I did double check in here and I took out some stuff, so this is literally just silk ribbon. But then all of these, I need to like, I need to figure out if any of them should go in this bag for the swatch piece. And if they don't need to go in that bag, then they can kind of all just be stored together in a container as like the specialty flosses. Which means I'm gonna have to dump out that bag and see what's already in there and count all of that. We'll do it in a second. I was in the middle of untangling this metallic floss, which, hoo boy, metallic floss is so unpleasant to the touch. You have to really want the shiny look to use it because like, otherwise, there's no reason. It is not fun to sew with. It's not fun to touch. It's not fun to try to wind onto a spool. But I was sitting here doing this and thinking, why am I so sleepy lately? These last few days. Like, why am I hitting this sleepy wall in the middle of the day? And then I realized we did just get back from Brazil and I'd kind of already forgotten about that. And to be clear, going to Brazil is basically like a vacation. We went specifically for a wedding this time. So it's not like it's exhausting or anything physically. However, I pretty much am always socially exhausted after going to Brazil or by going to Brazil. It's a lot of being around people. There's usually family events. This time, since it was a wedding, there were very specific family events. Did I have an overstimulated slight meltdown in the middle of the wedding reception? Yes, I did. It's fine. We recover. We move on. And then we get home and take some time to like rest and heal, I guess. Healing sounds a bit dramatic. It's recovery. It's you gotta recover. So I'd kind of forgotten that just happened because we got home and Matt kind of had to immediately turn around and leave for work. So there was a day of just like cleaning and laundry and getting stuff back together and going grocery shopping and everything. And then he was gone. And as soon as he leaves, I get very like work focused because there's no distractions in the house. So like every time Matt is out of town, I get so much work done to the point where I have to remind myself like, yo, go work on your embroidery, go work a puzzle, do some reading, leave the house every once in a while. I don't leave the house much when he's gone. Yeah, so I think because of that transition, I kind of just forgot that, like, you just came back from Brazil. You just came back from being socially drained and exhausted. Maybe that's why I've been sleepy. The hard thing about that is I never really know how quickly I'm going to recover or like when I'll feel energetic again. I'm never energetic. I am not an energetic person. So it's kind of hard to tell when I'm back to normal. Luckily, I did skip. There was like a meetup that I was potentially going to go to a few days ago. And I was like, I don't think I should do that, which was a wise choice. But yeah, I've been sleeping perfectly fine because I really prioritize sleep. Getting a solid amount of sleep is very, very important to me and always has been. And so I was very confused as to why I kept just like hitting a wall in the middle of the day. And that's okay. Like, it's not a problem. I'm not a napper. So when I hit that sleepy wall, it's like napping is not a solution. It's more that I'll like go sit and do some hand stitching or some embroidery, which is fine. It's delightful. It's lovely. It's difficult for me to edit when I hit that sleepy wall. So have I been procrastinating on editing a video? Yes, hardcore. And that's where I start to be like, how long is this gonna go on? You can't keep being sleepy. You need to edit a video. But I think I just have to give myself time to stop being sleepy. Or potentially, you know, I think it does help to do something else, to do something that energizes me in some way, which is usually some form of new project. And in this case, it's apparently reorganizing the hundreds of different fibers I now own. I am very much questioning how it has come to this. Mostly the yarn. The embroidery floss all makes sense to me. Like, I was an embroidery artist before I was a YouTuber, before anything else. So it's not like surprising to me at all that I have this much embroidery floss. And also embroidery floss is fairly small. Like, I have hundreds of skeins and it fits in a smaller amount of space than the yarn that I've got. I just feel like I need a new storage solution for the yarn. But I think like open shelving tends to be the best for yarn. I don't know about like as far as longevity, like is your yarn supposed to be exposed to oxygen? I don't know. I'm not fancy about yarn like that. But as far as space requirements, like the issue I run into with the drawers over here is that the really big skeins of yarn won't fit in those drawers, and so now I'm having to split stuff up. Did I mention I was gonna ramble in this video? This floss is about to break my brain. Success! I had to put my hair even further up so I could get really serious here. That's another thing that's been happening the last few days. I've been feeling super sleepy, and then like my sensory stuff has been through the roof. I swear to God, I can feel every single hair that is touching me anywhere, and I keep being like, ah, why? Anyway, we're making progress. I have these. They were just hanging in the guest room closet because I think they were originally in Matt's closet in the last house we were in. What if I put my yarn in these and manage to get these into that closet? Because that still has like the bar that I can hang these from. I feel like that's the best option because these are kind of squishy and movable and you can squish all different sizes of yarn into them. I fixed some stuff over here. I've got all of my needles in a bigger container now. I put all of my, what are these? That's so descriptive. Wow, I am blanking. All I can think of is the word brads. I'm literally gonna have to wait until I'm editing and put the word on the screen because I can't think of the word right now, but I put them all in the drawer that used to have the macrame cord in it. Woo! I'm thinking it would be great if I could get all of my glue into this cabinet because I just put it in a drawer and then I was like, is it a good idea to store glue laying down? It feels like I'm asking for trouble. What's in this drawer? Oh my God, I just realized there's a drawer here. Oh no. Oh, stuff I forgot I had. Crap. Buttons are in this drawer, which is perfectly fine because I almost never use buttons. Okay, that's solved. The glue issue is over. Now I have an empty drawer. So what if I put all of the roving and fiber, etc. in that drawer? I'm liking this. Things are going well. This is staying as is. It goes up here and I'm fine with that. I know there's silk ribbon in here. I will not forget. So now my thought is all of these cords, random stuff, can go in these bottom two drawers that used to have the yarn. As long as they physically fit in here, we'll be fine. Do you want to come closer? Come look, come watch, that's why you're here. Also, if you just put them all in the same drawer, then you don't have to worry about separating them into different categories. This is the big guy. Can you fit? Oh my God, I hate you. There's always one. There is just always one that doesn't fit. Why? Oh, do you not fit either? All right, if there's two that don't fit, that's a problem. It's a problem I really don't want to solve right now. Ugh, I liked this idea. Yeah, so clearly we're carrying on with this idea. So I think the raffia should all go down here. Are you too big? I guess that's why I didn't originally put it in here. That's too little to put in this drawer. I feel like all of this could be put down here still. We're going with that. I'm doing the same thing. I'm splitting things up in random spots. But I left my 6-strand embroidery floss in here because it has been here ever since I did this arrangement, and I am too accustomed to it being there. That's fine, I accept that. Ow! So I took this thingy out of there. It's just got like random stuff in it. It's got hot glue, which I guess I could put with the glue. No, because it needs a container. It's got batteries, it's got rubber bands, tape, markers for the dry erase board, fancy boxes that I don't want to get rid of. I don't feel like there's any point in it being in that cabinet though. I could probably squeeze it up there somewhere. Ow! I don't love this. Levels, y'all. Do I just think about levels all the time because of my background in theater? This was such a big thing. If you're set designing or you're directing, you're working together, it's like how to get levels onto the stage. You don't want everything to be played on ground level because it gets boring. And so when I put stuff on shelves, I'm always like, how can I get levels here? You know? You see how I've tried to get like levels into this little display area back here? But it's really hard to do because that means you have to have stuff you can stack other stuff on top of. Anyway, my point in moving that thing out of this cabinet is that I'd like to put all of my embroidery flosses back in here, but also big stuff. All of this kind of stuff. Especially because I have several in that closet that I would like to not be in that closet. Why do these need to be in these plastic bags? That feels incredibly unnecessary. These were a you can't pass that up remainders purchase. I do have a project idea with them. I don't know when I'll get around to it. But yeah, okay, that all stacks in there pretty well. And then I can add all of the cords that are too big. Again, we're going back to the old, it's all in different places, but I think that's just unavoidable. And that leaves half of this still open for these. I do have one more of these tubs. It's just at remainders right now. So that's what I'm going to put these little bags in of the specialty flosses. I just need to bring it back home next time I'm there. And this can go on top because it is very soon going to be projectified. Projectified? I like that a lot better. And there's more space in there in case I get something else that needs to go in there. But all of that I just did only works if I can get my yarn into the closet. I think I can. Look upon the closet of doom. First of all, why is all this fabric right here? Huh? Why is it here? I know why it's here. This is all for one very specific project. And because it's all slippery and hard to fold up, and I thought when I bought it that I'd be doing the project soon, I was like, hey, I'll just hang it up in here. So it's so available. That was like a year ago, y'all. If I fold it up all together and put it in the fabric closet all together, I'll remember it's for that project. I remember. So here we've got bag of bags, bag of cardstock scraps. I need to just get rid of this. This was like the first thing anyone ever asked if they could send me for free when I started a YouTube channel. And of course I was like, yeah, I didn't have a thread storage thing. I was like, absolutely, you can send it to me for free. I did use it for a while. I just have a different one now. Ow, that was loud. And I don't need this one, so I should just donate this to remainders. You know? That leaves us with a pretty decent opening, right? Boom! Let's get the yarn in. See, it squishes. Ta-da! Y'all, I feel so much better about that. One, it kind of makes the closet look a whole lot neater, but I feel like everything is decently visible and there's still space in there. Should I get a little bit more yarn? This is so much better. Yay! Okay, I put the holder thing back in the cabinet because I just don't like it over here. But now it's sitting on top of those plastic tubs of embroidery floss that I don't take out that often, so I don't think it'll be a problem. It's not as in the way as it used to be. The best way to get levels is to put books underneath things, but I do kind of hesitate to put books on top of this because the top wood here is not very thick. It kind of bows in the center, but I think as long as I put the books on the edges, it's fine. Levels. Aha. How do we feel about that? It doesn't really matter, it's staying. Woo! Whoo! All right, y'all. I think that'll do it. I feel so much better about this. I have an empty drawer over there. I have an empty shelf in the tansu as well. I feel like the yarn is way more accessible. Even the basket that had the green yarn in it, it only has my knitting yarn that I almost never touch now, so I could put something in there. Not that I'm like, woo, I have more space, I'm gonna buy more stuff. That's not how I operate. But like, this is my job. It is my job to craft and make stuff, and therefore my job requires supplies, and I do continue to acquire them. And it's nice to have them organized and neat and easy to find so that I don't go acquire supplies that I already have. That's my main thing. I want all of the things that I have to be easy to locate so that I never find myself purchasing new stuff simply because I couldn't find the stuff that I already have. And now I do feel pretty motivated to start a project. Also, this was supposed to motivate me to do the dishes. That was just like a personal thing in the back of my head. I really need to do the dishes. And I was like, maybe if you wake up this morning and you clean stuff and you get stuff organized, you'll want to do the dishes. Surprise, I don't want to do the dishes, but then I never want to do the dishes. I am going to go do them now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I was originally going to put this video on the second channel because I was like, you're just going to like sit around sorting through embroidery floss and chatting about random stuff. But actually, I think that was a fun little reorganization of the studio, and it's probably going on the main channel. Did I put it on the main channel? Tell me in the comments. That's the only way I could possibly ever know. I hope you had fun hanging out and body doubling. I appreciate you getting me to do this, for better or for worse. Turning on a camera and turning something into my job does get me to do things that I'm maybe not feeling super motivated to do. And I appreciate that. I find it helpful. And I appreciate you. And I find you helpful. And I hope you appreciated this and found this helpful. Hey, it's 10:30. This is when I've been getting sleepy every day. I did just finish something, so now it feels like I'm gonna get sleepy, which is why I think I have to get up right now and go straight into doing the dishes. Let's do it. You don't have to come for that part though. Bye.